My name is Elman Abdullayev, and I am Ambassador of Azerbaijan to Ethiopia, as well as to Kenya, Rwanda, and Djibouti, as well as permanent representative to UN Environment Program, UN Habitat. First of all, Azerbaijan is a very strategically located and a very important country in the region where, as we usually say, East and West meets. This is exactly at the border of Eastern Europe and Western Asia, which actually brings together Europe and Asia. And this is first of the reasons why many regional strategic projects of a global scale, of a global importance, pass through our part of the world. And of course, most of these regional projects, mainly the energy and transportation projects, were initiated by Azerbaijan itself. Of course, Azerbaijan is the major contributor to the regional projects and major donor to the regional projects, and of course major, I would say, source of the implementation for those regional projects. Azerbaijan is the first country in the Muslim world where the ideals of the republicanism, the republic itself, was born in 1918, more than a century ago. And this is, of course, for us another source of pride that we always bring to the world. Of course, I can mention also the cultural aspects. This is the first opera in the Muslim world where it was born. It is the country where the first time in the Muslim world women were granted the rights to vote. Actually, not only in the Muslim world, this is one of the first countries in the world to grant the women rights to vote in 1918. So we have a very strong economic aspect. Azerbaijan tries to keep the region safe, region developed. Azerbaijan shares more than 80% of the economy, or I would say economic volume or economic turnout of the region, whole region. So it indicates that Azerbaijan is an economic driving force of the region, which is really important for the region because with Azerbaijan's support, region flourished. Let's just bring an example of the transportation hub. It became a hub for linking Asia with Europe, so east with west, as we call ancient Silk Road. So Azerbaijan played a very unique role, a very strategic and historical role in linking I would say the ancient Silk Road, in fact restoring it. Most of our nations met in the ancestral times with the help of this Silk Road. So Azerbaijan decided right after the independence that we need to play a very important role in bringing the Silk Road back. So that's why we've initiated this transportation projects, especially the linking projects. Now you can take a train in Beijing and land in Berlin with the railroad. So that covers, of course, not only the passenger transportation, but also the cargo transportation, which is important and vital for our economies. So pretty much, of course, I cannot cover all the aspects, but I tried to give you just a glimpse of political, diplomatic, economic, cultural. Let me first of all start that at the core of any economic linkage, there's always historical and cultural aspect. Jumping straight to the economic cooperation, it might not be always successful. So that's why the background, a cultural, historical background, is always important. As I mentioned to you, the ancient Silk Road. And I think this is a very good coincidence in our conversation, and really fits into our conversation. Because the major role that ancient Silk Road played is, of course, first of all, the connecting the people, connecting the nations around the world, to bring more welfare, more economy, more exchange, trade. Before it was trade, now we call economic cooperation, now we call business-to-business communications, now we call investments, trade turnover. So, of course, linking Azerbaijan to African countries is very important, and of course the ancient Silk Road played a very important role. During the Soviet years, when Azerbaijan was part of the Soviet Union, our Republic of Azerbaijan, played a very important role in outreaching to the African countries. Via different aspects, of course, but the core aspect in outreaching to African countries, it was how we can contribute to Africa to make this continent more prosperous, more independent, and of course stronger. You know, in terms of self-reliability, stronger. And of course, looking at those different aspects, we came to the conclusion that that might be, of course, investing into the future of the region via the human capital. Indeed. So we have proven to the world, to the international community, that Azerbaijan can be a reliable partner, and is a reliable partner, will always be a reliable partner, and will be looking for the reliable partner. And of course, Africa became for us one of the important directions, one of the important destinations. And of course, Azerbaijan's economy became export-oriented or export-driven economy, as it goes in any diversification. So that's why the non-oil economy was built to produce more. And of course, within this, we even started looking for partners more in Africa, to find for us new markets, and of course new partners where we can add more or bring more to our economy. Africa is a very rich continent. Africa has always been a land of blessing. You know, and we always believe that by being close to Africa, and in terms of partnership, cooperation, and of course we can enrich ourselves, our economy, and of course looking into these kind of approaches, we now work in different directions with the African countries. Let's just start with the trade, because we trade in many areas. This is very classical. This is very historically proven economic means of economic cooperation. Of course, we export, and at the same time we import. For example, I would like to mention, we are in Ethiopia. Let's mention Ethiopia. Recently we had a delegation from Azerbaijan, let's say a furniture industry. They were looking for the opportunities, what we can do in Ethiopia in terms of exporting Azerbaijani furniture, as well as looking into the limited production of our furniture in Ethiopia. And of course, we started looking for the areas, for the places where we can have our let's say showrooms and etc. Other area is of course the petrochemical. You know, Azerbaijan, because Azerbaijan is energy-rich country, we have developed separately the petrochemical sector, and of course this is one of the areas where we think that we can help Africa to be more independent we're talking now about the Horn of Africa, let's say. Let me just bring you another example, which is the fertilizers. Azerbaijan has been developing this sector of it's completely the private sector in Azerbaijan. Fertilizer production area. We've helped many European countries to be completely independent in building their own fertilizer production. So I think Africa is more suitable even than other parts of the world, where we can make Africa more independent in terms of its production of its own fertilizers. Coming to other areas, I would like to mention such areas as a food industry. Food industry is a very important area. Africa is rich in nutrition, is rich in food, is rich in, as I told you earlier, Africa is a continent which is really blessed by different natural products. But historically, Africa was regarded, unfortunately, as a product of colonialism. Africa was regarded as a source of raw material versus the production. Let's put it this way. Colonizers always looked at Africa as they might come, take the raw materials, reproduce them, and sell back to Africa to African countries for much higher prices. Azerbaijan's approach is completely different. While many countries buy, let's say, from Ethiopia, the green coffee to produce it in their countries, we, for example, buy and we used to import from Ethiopia the coffee which is completely produced in here and even packed, which is the value-added product. So this is how we regard the Africa, because we believe that we should be looking at African countries from the win-win context. Of course, the other areas like the machinery areas are very important. Azerbaijan is the country that started producing the machineries and assembly and stuff like that. So this is the other area where we cooperate with the African countries. Of course, there are also very prospective areas. Really, I believe that one of these prospective areas, and we should be really focusing on those prospective areas, of food industry. I very much believe that the food industry is the area that we can take our cooperation much further. Food industry is the area that is fed by the abundance of the resources and the food that is available on the continent in Africa. Food industry, of course, includes the fruits, includes the meat, includes the fishery, includes other many areas. Now, of course, we believe that this will be a very interesting area of the cooperation, as Azerbaijan is an important hub in the region and has access to the market of more than 300 million population. Azerbaijan is one of the important centers in the for not only former Soviet area, but also other neighbors where we already produce and export, and not only even in our part of the world. So we could help Africa to outreach our part of the world.